Alright, so this is the wrap up of what happens after midnight devlogs. I'll probably also do one more mechanics breakdown video. So let's get straight into it. How much money did I make? Well, to be honest, is embarrassingly low, say publicly, so I'll just say it made less than $1,000. I am very thankful for the few people who did play the game, but this does reinforce to me that being an indie dev is not a reliable source of income. If you want to get into indie games and don't have a decent budget, don't expect to make any money. Do it because you love making games. Now that less than $1,000 might come as a shock to some people who are not as in the know, but 50% of games on Steam make less than $1,000. It's simply very hard to generate interest in your game, but it's also very hard to make a game that is worthy of people's very limited time and money these days. So with all that money talk out of the way, let's get into how I feel about what happens after midnight. Well, it's definitely the best game I've made so far, but there's still definitely room for improvement. Let's start with the positives. I think I like the story that I came up with. It got more fleshed out in the end. It's a little light in the beginning. I like all the cool environments I made. In the past, I was pretty extraordinarily gameplay focused, with very basic environments. It was both because I felt I couldn't make a decent environment, and also out of the fear of interrupting the gameplay flow. I didn't realize just how important environments were to the game. Now that may seem ridiculous and obvious. Like, of course a game needs good environments, but around when I started, I used to have this idea in my head that, well, since retro games in the past were good with limited pixels and a lot of aesthetic limitations, then good gameplay is all you really need to make a good game. But I didn't really realize that good games then were in spite of the aesthetic limits. Story and aesthetic aren't just little niceties we've become accustomed to. They're huge multiplicative forces that can take a game to the next level. If you're just starting out, don't neglect any part of your game. Make it something fun just to even walk around in. I really like the environments and seeing all these interesting ideas come to life. So let's talk about what I could have done better. I think it really comes down a lot to the lack of professionalism. I talked in an earlier devlog about not cutting any more corners, but after taking a step back, I've realized I need to take it even further. I need to be going for a 100% AAA feel. Of course, not the broken AAA feel, which sounds very daunting for an indie game with no budget, but I think I've learned enough that it's feasible I could do that for my next game. I've also been working under artificial time limits to make sure I get things done in a reasonable amount of time, because making the game takes so much time out of my day-to-day life that I wanted to limit how long I could work on it overall. Instead of that, I'm going to pace myself better day to day and just let the game take however long it takes. So that's about it. I didn't make very much money, and it was a good enough game, but it had a lot of room for improvement. I'll keep pushing myself to make better and better games, and I hope that any aspiring devs out there do so if they feel it's right for them. Thank you to anyone who likes, comments, or subscribes to this channel. That's it.